If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall, it's there for you to see. If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall.
Opposing covert forces, you on the other hand only endorse it. Catch our treat, only endorse it. You know where to come when draconian war hits. This ain't a scare tactic, I really wish that things were less drastic. If you abide by the mass formation psychosis, then you'll end up a captive, a slave to the system. So hand over your rights, then blame like a victim. The supply chain's now seized up, so they're promoting people that eat bugs. Go do the research rather than making decisions at a knee jerk. If we go along with a collective, this reality will have ended.
It's there for you to see. If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall, it's there for you to see. If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall.
Just imagine North Korea in 20 years.
One, two, one, two. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? It's Rise Above special Thursday night broadcast.
Rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above, abstract.
You know it's going to be all about Ratri. Big up everyone that's been tuning into the extra broadcast we've been doing in the last week or so in the run-up to the event of the century. Ratri, you know what's going down. Right, first announcement, and let me just share the screen very quickly before we invite our guest on. Don't forget, tomorrow night is the big presentation from Master Lee, aka Inner Guardians. It's Panpsychism 3.3. He's been building up to this massively, and after we've chatted about Ratri in just a moment and the Woodland School, we're going to be replaying his previous presentation, The Power of Three. We want to get down all the foundational information before we get to the big one tomorrow. Is everyone, let me know if we're sounding all right. I can see all you guys in the chat. Big shout out to Audrey B, Auntie Coviet, Ross Holt, Pac-Man, Bradley Golden. I tuned in from Texas. Big up all the Texas crew. Rise and Shine, Eye for an Eye, Chop the Dog, everyone. Big shout out to Sam Carno. We could still do with a few more Ratri volunteers, so please, volunteers.ratri@gmail.com. Yeah, so the hype is massive. We are now approaching only 2 weeks to go. The lineup is, we thought it was full. We're still squeezing more in every single day. A whole heap of workshops, seminars, speakers, teachers, activities, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. But before I do, I need to talk about e-tickets. There has been a bit of a confusion, right? I've been talking about QR codes, and we were under the impression that the QR codes have been sent out of the existing e-tickets. They don't appear to include them, but do not fear anyone. Everyone that's bought a ticket that's got that 4-digit number, we have a record of you, and we will be resending a link with e-tickets to everyone that has a QR code on it. And anyone that's kicking off about QR codes, because that's what the Soviet Union used, shut up. It's an inert piece of technology. It's just like a barcode. It's what we're going to do to count all of the people coming into the event for our license, okay? So yeah, watch your emails that you've got your PayPal on, because in the next week, you will 100% get a new e-ticket for each person with a QR code on it. Right. The last little thing I showed was about pre-bookable activities, and we all know that at Ratry, as well as what we're including in the ticket price, all the seminars, workshops, activities, there is some extra, very special, unlockable content. Okay, it's offered from the Woodland School. Okay, I've showed these pictures before. It's Friday night and Saturday. We're offering loads of stuff from the Woodland School, and I have got the CEO of the Woodland School with me here right now. Her name is Chloe Coxall, aka the Shooting Mum on Instagram. She's a little bit nervous, so please go easy on her, guys. I'm going to say hello to Chloe.
Hi guys, I am so nervous.
Don't worry about it.
I
Just
know,
you're
it's
just having a
ridiculous,
chat with
but-
me. Stop looking at the screen.
Okay.
Get a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay.
Right
I'm
now,
gonna keep getting it wrong.
you're
but
not
I'm
going to
gonna
get it wrong.
try.
Tell us a little bit about your journey, how you've got up here with the Woodland School and the Shooting Mum. You know, the Instagram you got.
Okay. So basically, the Shooting Mum comes from the mixture of jobs I have, which initially I did, a fair bit of shooting, because I wanted to be able to catch, kill, cook to survive. So
Yeah.
it's all part of the survival thing. And I've just kind of rolled with that name. Basically I started the Woodland School so that I could share the benefits of being in the woodland and everything that comes with it, and that kind of escape with everybody. I also wanted to show people how to utilise what Mother Nature has to offer, really. The Woodland School is set in a pretty awesome location, which everyone is going to
Yeah.
see. But it is, I mean, I'm biased because I built it, but it is a pretty special place. And it does look like something out of a film. It really does.
It's a really lovely bit of land, and I'll just say now, it's actually quite synchronistic how all of this came together. We got put in touch through a mutual friend, and we actually started looking at the land next door, which is
Yeah.
linked to your dad, right?
Yeah.
That didn't quite work out, but you said, what about this piece of land next door? And then it turns out you've got this background with the Woodland School. We've always, like we said from day one, we planned to have survival and bushcraft, and we wanted to teach kids about that as well. And it just turns out that you were there with this amazing bit of land right next door, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, it is. It's like been so smooth running. It's all meant to be. But so all running from very close but almost the same piece of land. We've got the Woodland School, which predominantly caters to children. It is a woodland school as such, because my kind of ethos is I wanted to make nature accessible, affordable, and actually doable for parents, which links us into that the sort of activities that we're offering, because I want parents to be able to still go and enjoy themselves and do those things that we are so restricted in doing when we've got our kids. We kind of thought, well, why not allow people to come and enjoy themselves, and we can look after the kiddos from the same location. That's kind of part of the Woodland School. And then Ragnarok Wild Skills is kind of the adult side of it, which is the bushcraft and survival stuff.
Yeah, that's shown on the screen here.
Yeah. And we kind of have put together a little bit of an insight into bushcraft and survival. With our sort of session times, we want to show you a little bit of everything, so that you guys can gain that little bit of knowledge. And if you find something that you really want to pursue, then you know where we are and what we do, and you can come back and follow that, which is awesome.
Sure. So with regards to Ratry, let's be quite clear. You're going to be sort of doing a number of different things. From the Friday evening, there's a couple of different options for sort of like woodland childcare, right?
Yeah. So Friday afternoon, I thought let's open the woodland doors to give parents a chance to be able to get to Ratry, set up, get yourself sorted, grab some food. And so we've opened up the sort of woodland childcare, shall we say, on a Friday afternoon. And then staying in with sort of staying on the same path as you guys, we thought let's give back a little bit. So let's do the Woodland Cinema, which again, it means that you guys can go and enjoy yourselves, knowing that the kiddos are looked after, they're safe, they're enjoying themselves. So that's why we put on the Woodland Cinema for £1.
Yeah, so for anyone that hasn't looked at our schedule yet, it's quite important because basically from 6 we're doing like the opening ceremony on the main stage. So the idea is, like Chloe says, is when you get there, you know, if you've got the youngsters and you want them to be like, you know, entertained and looked after by professionals and maybe learn some woodland skills, that's actually starting at, what is it? So 3 o'clock. That's actually available from 3 o'clock on the Friday.
Yeah.
So in between 3 and 6, it's £10 an hour per child, which is very reasonable for professional childcare, let alone, what else have we got on here? So let's have a look. Woodlands, crafts and games.
Yeah, so basically within the Woodland School, we have got so many things to offer, which we, on any of those kind of session times that we are looking after the children, that woodland childcare as such. So we've got woodland crafts and games, pretty much as it sounds, where they can make all sort of like natural dream catchers and things like that, but mainly it's out of natural resource. So we really show the children how to use what's around them, so that we're not paying out loads of money on all sorts of plasticky resources.
Awesome.
We're going to do some basic children's bushcraft. So again, just teaching them how to utilise what's around them. Den building, because everybody loves den building, especially children. And it's a real good activity that gets everybody moving, working together and that kind of thing. Storytelling. All of us love talking. We also love listening. So I think it's great. The importance of reading, is really well known. So yeah, we thought, why not? And we have got an awesome woodland playground with rope swings and all sorts of bits.
I've seen
and bobs.
It's the ultimate woodland playground for children. It's brilliant.
It is. And then we have got a few other bits that we can do with the kind of older children, so we can make some primitive tool making, but some like little bows and arrows and
oh wow,
things
that sounds fun.
With the older ones.
So what you're saying here is, through what you've got on the menu there for the Friday open, woodland and wild ones, that can actually be tailored to the age of the kids, their capabilities, whether they just want to sort of play with the leaves and make bug hotels, or they're going to actually sort of, you know, craft something that they can take, you know, away at the end of the session and show everyone. It will sort of be tailored, yeah,
that's exactly what we've gone for.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted when I asked you to do this. That's brilliant.
That's it. So we can cater to everybody, so that we're not having, and also it allows all the children to play together, and we're catering to everybody, and we're not having that separation of the younger ones and the older ones. They can all be in the same area enjoying themselves with whatever they choose to do.
Yeah. No, that just to recap, that is £10 per hour per child, or there is a deal, £20 for 3 hours, and I would challenge anyone to get professional childcare for £10 an hour anywhere. That's a brilliant deal. But we're giving back straight after that from 6 till 8, the Woodland Cinema. How's that going to go down? Yeah,
so we're encouraging you to bring the children with their blankets, their sleeping bags, whatever. We're going to provide some hot chocolate, and we're just going to try and use it as a bit of a time to kind of settle everybody down. All the children are going to be highly excited, just like all of us adults, really. But it just, again, it gives you guys a chance to go off and go to the welcoming ceremony, and we can make sure, the kids are all chilled, they can enjoy a film, and then, ready for when you guys come and grab them, and hopefully they'll settle down and, makes that first night easier.
Sounds great. So, guys, these are the pre-bookable activities, which are purely for children of all ages. And to book these activities, you call Chloe on 07540 091 459 or email thewoodlandschooldorset@gmail.com. All of these details are in the welcome pack that's coming out to everyone that's purchased a ticket. If you haven't already received it, it will be coming to you in the next couple of days with all of these graphics in and all of the opportunities to book. Because I've got to say, these must be pre-booked, because Chloe needs to know how many people she needs to employ to cater for everyone. We know how many tickets we sold, but we need to know and have this pre-booked in advance. So this is Friday. Right, we're now going to move on to Saturday, because obviously on the left, we're offering the same stuff for the kids on Saturday starting at 10, right?
Yeah, well, I wanted to try and, again, make it accessible for everyone. So I thought, let's offer a full day Woodland School, so that parents can know that the children are enjoying themselves and they can go off and do what they want. And then if there was sort of courses or whatever that people want to go and do that are just an hour or a couple of hours, again, we just thought make both options there for parents.
So, for instance, if you are absolutely dying to come to master these first principles of self-defense, you cannot miss it. Both parents have to be there, or one parent, or whatever, and you need someone to look after the kids. You can say, right, from 11:30 to 12, from 12 to 1, I need. Can I book the Woodland school? But if you want to do it for the whole day, we're keeping it flexible. So it's there for, for as little or as much as you need.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do, and at a really reasonable price, so that it is accessible for people. Everything I price knowing that I've got 3 children myself, and if I can afford it. But yeah, I've dropped the prices even more just so that we can cater to everybody.
So if, for instance, like if you had like, I don't know, let me say a 10 to 12-year-old, right, and you book them in for, well, it's only 10 till 3:30. It's not even a full day, so it's most of the day. Theoretically, if that kid, they could come away with quite a nice little bow and arrow or something they've been working on throughout the day, or if they wanted to, a younger child maybe could have a chance to do most of those activities throughout the day. It's all on the menu.
Yeah, it is. And there is so much to do, and there is so much variety, and I think that's the great thing about the Woodland School and the setup, the camp where we are, is there is just endless things for them to do. But it's also like the social side of it as well for the children. Like, how great is it if you've got a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old that have all been in the Woodland School together. They go back to their folks who are then bumping into each other in the main arena and stuff like that. It's building friendships. It's building
and I can tell you, we from ticket sales, including day tickets, we've got just over 30 children in the 5 to 15-year-old range, not counting under 5. So that's a good group. Even if half of them books, there's definitely chance for them to make some friends there. We've got and it's a good age range of kids that's coming as well. So we're trying to make sure we cater for everyone, whether it's just a drop in when you want to go to the meme workshop, or you want to do some yoga, you need some childcare, or you want your child to get the full smorgasbord of Woodland activities throughout the whole day. Either way, pre-book with the details on the screen. Let me just make it big again in case you're looking on your phone. Telephone number and the Gmail, which is the Woodland School Dorset @gmail.com. Okay, so that is pretty much what's going to be offered for the kids, and I can see there. I like the look of Bug Hotels. That sounds like really a lot of fun for the younger kids. Green woodwork and whittling. I remember the first time I ever was given a Swiss Army knife from my dad, which is probably, I think it was on my 12th birthday. I must have whittled sticks for a good 6 months straight. I don't think I did much else. I remember that as being a very satisfying activity. Okay, so I think we've covered the kids. Now it's time to get a little bit more interesting. Now you sell this stuff as Ragnarok. We've just called it Ra Treat, Bushcraft and Survival. What is the Ragnarok training all about?
So basically, I wanted to put that little bit of separation in between children and adults, hence the 2 names. All of which run from very similar location. So we have put together some bushcraft and survival sessions for you guys, just to give a bit of an all-round introduction to those skills that are quite vital and have been lost over time.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we talk on the show a lot about self-sufficiency, about the all of the different apparent agendas that are being thrust in our face. Cyber Polygon, the internet goes down, a loss of power, a societal collapse. Well, the aim of Ra Treat is not just for everyone to meet up and have a good time. We want it to be a learning experience as well. So this has been tailored for exactly that. So the activities we've tried to put into this and asked Chloe to come up with are fundamental skills that you would need if the shit really hit the fan. Let's go into a little bit more detail about what's included here on the menu of so it's £25 per person, right? Mm-hmm. And is that for an hour or 2 hours?
That's 2 hours.
That's 2 hours. Okay,
that's 2
so it's
hours.
£12.50 an hour.
Yeah.
That's again excellent value. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. All right, let me just go back to this one. So I'm trying to make that bigger. Okay, so fire lighting and natural tinder. You're going to be finding bits in the forest.
Yeah, so we're going to show you how, what you can use as natural tinder within the forest setting that we're going to be in. And we're going to show you how to light fires, manage fires. Yeah, without going into too much detail and giving too much away.
Yeah.
We're going to show you how to be able to light and keep a fire going.
Okay.
For warmth, for cooking off. But there's so much to fire lighting. It isn't just a case of whacking it all together and hoping for the best. Your fire will depend on what you want it for.
Sure.
And whether you want it to be small enough that you can be not seen, but still gain that heat and enough to cook with and things like that. So yeah, there's loads to that.
Now, once you've built your fire, obviously you need to make sure that if it rains, the fire doesn't go out. So you need to build a shelter when the shit hits the fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the next thing, knots and shelter building.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have put together a little session to give you guys an intro into that on really easy sort of shelter building, quick, in survival terms. You want to burn the least amount of calories as possible. You don't know when you're going to get your next meal. So survival is really about making sure you're not burning too much energy.
Sure. Tree ID and natural navigation.
Yeah.
So what's so important about knowing what trees what?
Well, trees have got so many properties to them, whether we want to use them for medicine, whether we want to use them for shelter, fire. Already those sort of two previous things are based or can be based on trees. UK Tree ID is a really, really good, just to have a little bit of UK Tree ID could save your life, really, at some point. And natural navigation, it is always really good to know where you are and where you're going, especially, again, in a survival situation. You don't want to stay for too long. You want to keep moving, and you need to know that you're going in the right direction, or you're not going around in circles. It's quite common.
Yeah, because it's very easy to get turned around in the forest. This is the term, not people. It means once you've turned around enough times and you're totally disorientated, you can get to a situation where you never know if you're going in the right direction. You just keep turning around. Yeah. I've had it. It wasn't obviously a life or death situation. It wasn't a massive forest, but I've witnessed this firsthand. It wasn't pleasant for half an hour, 45 minutes, having no direction where we're going. This is in Mexico, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went to this temple. Right, listen to this.
That is quite frightening.
Right. So we're in this tiny little village called, and it's one of those like Mayan words that starts with an X. Very hard to say, like something like that. That's what it's called. And no one spoke English. So myself and my new wife, we were walking around, not knowing what to do, saying, "Please take us to a temple." Someone goes, 4 hours. I'm like, what? We managed to get it down to 45 minutes. But this temple was 45 minutes into the middle of nowhere, into a jungle, a very small car park. It was free to go in. No one was there, absolutely no one. And there was apparently 5 temples. We got to the 4th and we kept going. And I was like, I don't know if there's a 5th temple. I'm not that bothered about it now because we've been walking for quite a long time and we got turned round. Luckily, after 45 minutes and much dismay, we came across some other holiday makers who also spoke no English, but they wanted to carry on going to the temple with us. We're like, no, we don't want to see the temple. Which way back to the car park? Managed to find out. But yeah,
that was
not
so
much fun
lucky.
Getting turned around in the forest.
Yeah,
that's
pretty scary stuff.
Very, very important skill. So what's tools of the trade?
So it's
without giving too much away.
Yeah, well, lots of people, I'm sure, have got axes, knives, and various other sort of tools that they would class as bushcraft or survival tools. And we show you the basic tools because you want to be carrying light and how to use them and how to use them safely, because it is so common to see people with a knife and they just, they don't have any knowledge on how to use them.
Using a knife the wrong way can be very dangerous for you and anyone in arm's reach of you, basically.
Exactly that. And again, going back to the survival side of it, if you cut yourself and you're in a survival situation, you're adding to those risks which you want to reduce. So if you've been shown how to use a knife properly, how to use an axe properly, yeah, it helps alleviate some of that risk.
So all of that is included for £25. It's crammed into 2 hours, and I guess this is really like it's a taster session because you're trying to cram a lot in there. It says maximum 8 people, and there's 2 sessions, 10 to 12 and 1 till 3. Does that mean that there's only opportunity for 16 people to do that?
There is, because it will be a 1-to-8 ratio. So it will be 1 instructor per 8 people.
So you guys better get booking that up
Yes.
quick. We've already sold over 250 tickets. There's only 16 places on that. Okay, so get booking up quickly.
Yes, that'd be great.
However, we also have other activities for adults. And what's the youngest child, I must ask, that can do the Ragnarok?
So
Do you take it case for case, or do you have a set rule?
do you know what, case for case, because children are so different and parents are so different.
What's the youngest you had on?
I would be uncomfortable taking anybody under the age of 8.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say 12.
No.
Okay, that's
I mean,
cool.
my eldest son has just turned 11.
Okay, so you've just opened it up for all children down to like 8 years old. That's really cool. So a responsible 8, 9 or 10-year-old could be trusted to learn these skills and not chop their hand off or something.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
every case is different. But I.
Okay, right, next one. What about the axe throwing? Is that the same?
So, yeah, age-wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got smaller axes for kids?
No, they don't need smaller
Oh,
ones.
what's
Yeah.
it? Are they like sort of tomahawk size? I've done knife throwing. I've never thrown an axe.
Oh, well, you're first in line then to throw axes.
Oh, I'm
You're
definitely
gonna
going.
set the
Hey, I
precedent.
can't wait to do axe throwing. I've been watching Vikings. I've just completed Vikings.
Oh, brilliant.
Ragnar Lothbrok, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, and no, I'm totally up for doing some axe throwing. How many axes could you maximum throw in 15 minutes for a tenner, do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I reckon you should do it.
Can you give me
And
2
then-
axes at once so I can throw them double-handed? I used to be able to throw knives double-handed like that.
If we can record it. 'Cause I'd be
Okay. Oh, of
interested
course.
to
Listen,
see.
you should see the cameraman we've got coming. He's
Brilliant.
got one of those transformer gimbals that where the camera floats around him. He looks like a
awesome.
cyborg. It's amazing.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
Big up Freddie Stevenson. Okay, so axe throwing. How many people is that something you can just drop in throughout the day and do
Yeah.
for 15 minutes?
Yeah, so with the axe throwing and the carving corner, we thought let's just have something running all day
Yep.
that people can just walk in, book themselves on, pay their money, go and do it, and then move on to the next thing, so that people don't have to dedicate that time to it as such.
So
We
does
just
that
thought
need
we'd
to be
offer a
pre-booked, the axe throwing and the carving corner, or is that actually more drop-in?
It can be pre-booked.
We recommend it to be pre-booked.
Yeah, we do recommend it to be
But
pre-booked.
there will be some drop-in opportunity there.
There will.
But we'd rather it be pre-booked.
Yes, because the pre-booked are going to obviously first come.
Because obviously,
That's
what you've got to
absolutely-
remember is if we get a low amount of pre-bookings and then everybody wants to do it on the day, there won't be the opportunity because we won't have been able to employ the staff that we need because we don't know how many. You get the idea, guys.
Yeah.
So, please don't wait for a drop-in on those activities. Let's get them pre-booked so Chloe can know exactly how many qualified instructors and staff she needs to get in so that everyone can be catered for. Because the worst possible outcome is that not enough people pre-book. Everyone thinks, oh, I'll just do it on the day, chuck them a tenner. And then we don't actually have enough capability because we haven't got enough people there. For all we know, everyone wants to do this. So let us know. The details are on the screen with regards to the phone number and the Gmail. Right, let's talk about the carving corner as well. So it says here, £15 per person, including a blank, which, what's a blank? What do you carve
So a blank is a piece of wood ready for people to carve spoons.
Oh, right, so it's about making a utensil.
Yeah.
I like that. So that's something that theoretically they could go and use around their campfire
Yes.
to stir a soup.
Yeah.
See? That's the idea. You're going to actually take something away that you can go back to your RA camp and cook with.
Yeah.
Not like some useless plastic Chinese toy or something. This is going to be a utensil that you can use. So it's £15 and 10 people in at a time. Okay, but that's running throughout the day.
Yeah, but see, with Carving Corner, I wanted to create that woodland, almost like woodland lounge, right? That we're going to have that fire going in the middle. We're going to have that kettle boiling in the middle. Get everybody in, we'll show people how to carve spoons. And then what I'm really hoping is that those 10 people with a few sort of coming and going, because it's not set.
Once people
session.
see everyone else's spoon, there's going to be a massive queue. It's like, please, can I make a spoon as well? Once
Well,
everyone's coming away with their nice, shiny rise above spoon, come on.
Well, I'm hoping everyone, people that are into that will really gravitate towards that area, and I'm really hoping again people are gonna be sat there carving but talking, building friendships, and that's the thing that I'm super keen on, is when I walk in and check on that sort of spoon carving session as such, that's what we're creating there is people sat really enjoying.
Maybe if people forget to bring enough cooking utensils, that will actually create a surge for the carving corner. It's like, oh, can you go and make like a fork? We need a spoon. But just to let you guys know, the HR department will be selling some essentials. I might even get a couple of like 2-man tents in case, because let's face it, out of 300 people, there's definitely going to be one person who either forgets their tent, brings the wrong tent that doesn't work or is broken, or they've lost all their pegs or something like that.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking, does the little shop on site, you know, the mini stand, what does it have there? It's got a few bits,
marshmallows, biscuits for like s'mores.
Does it have camping equipment?
Very limited.
Okay.
Very limited. But there is a few bits and bobs there. A couple of hammocks, a couple of tarps, paracord, and bungee that I've kind of put together and chucked out there.
That's useful. All right, well, we'll have a conversation and we'll make sure we don't step on each other's toes. Because what we want to make sure, because if anyone forgets something at Rattree, how near is the closest shop? Like Tollpuddle hasn't got a decent shop, has it?
No, neither's Bury Regis.
So you basically be going to Dorchester or Wareham to get a proper shop to forget anything. So you're talking about a 10-mile journey. There might be a supermarket within 5 miles, a small one. But yeah, so guys, the welcome pack that's being sent out to guests and staff, it sort of outlines like what you need to think about. And the very limit. This is proper off-grid camping, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
Camping.
It's wild camping.
Completely wild camping.
You know, this is not a campsite, although it is. You know, we've rented the whole site. It is a woodland site, which is beautiful, and each of the pitches are basically quite far away from each other. It's not like you're all crammed into a field, guys. There's water taps. We've put in 6 extra toilets, which are getting cleaned, an extra clean on the Saturday. I paid extra for that. I thought that was smart.
Yeah, that's a smart
because
move.
we're going to be on site earlier during the week with the build. The volunteers are turning up on Wednesday and Thursday. By Saturday, those toilets probably need to be emptied. So I paid extra for that. That's coming out of our pocket. You can thank us for that later. We're not going to have any dirty festival toilets. No way. Yeah. So I think we've covered everything with regards to what's going down with the Woodland School and with the Ragnarok bushcraft and survival training. I can't stress enough, guys, if this sounds good to you and you want to make the most of Rattree, get on the phone to Chloe. Obviously, not right now because she's here and this is live. Don't phone her now. I hope you put your phone on silent.
I did.
Good.
When I walked in and saw this setup, I was like, phone on silent.
The only thing we haven't got is the red light outside saying live. Like I will get that soon. I have a little button here, just like stay out, peasants. So yeah, can't stress enough. As soon as Chloe, what time is it? 34 minutes past. Oh, Master Lee will be here in 10 minutes. Sweet. So yeah, as soon as Chloe clears off in about 10 minutes and I say goodbye, you are free to bombard her with phone calls and emails. If you want to ask her any more questions, but more importantly, get some activities booked in.
Yeah.
Because the more bookings we have, the more we can cater for everyone, and that means nobody gets left out by... don't do lastminute.com. Do booking.com.
Yeah, pre-booking, please, because then we can cater to everyone, because the last thing that I want is somebody to come to the Woodland School or to the Ragnarok stuff and we have to turn you away because we just haven't got the capacity. So yeah.
And here's the thing to consider as well. Although we've already sold over 250 tickets, the head count of Rattree is already like 400. I know for a fact that some bookings that Chloe has already got are from staff that are working, that are doing the training. They've already emailed me and said, is my shift going to be at 10 to 12 on Saturday? I was like, I don't know yet. I've booked for bushcraft. So listen, we're also going to have a whole influx of people in, what's the date today? The 25th. In the next 5 days, because there's another payday coming up. So we're going to sell a shitload of tickets right before the event. Some of those people won't have an opportunity to book with Chloe and they will be begging to do it last minute. So don't be one of those people that can't get on this. Make sure you book. Send Chloe an email or give her a call. How do you take payment? Over the phone, or do you have a portal?
Email people
Bank details. Yeah, just do a backs.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and it's all very reasonably priced, guys. Effectively, these prices are subsidised. I would challenge anyone to go and do survival training or get any childcare anywhere near these prices, let alone on beautiful woodland site in the middle of the coolest esoteric retreat that's going on this side of the Crater Realm. Yeah, it's Ra Treat, everyone. Let me see if I can just get a little... Yeah, let's play this.
Yo, take a look inside, realize your power. See our strength rise high by the hour. Manifest like lotus flower. Louder, I am free, not a coward. All we gotta do is say no to every single rule they roll. They're trying to murder our children, revealed, and they're running like Usain Bolt. From the AI to the GMO, from the fluoride to the Pope. You better stay wise to that fear, bro, or your mind will erode. You'd be suffocating your youths in mass, you'd kneel to Satan on doorsteps. You'd poison your children with that vaccine, feel no way to have more tests. But I got control of my life, and with the love I'm holding on tight. And if that girl there don't like to be free, then poof, she won't be my wife. I'ma live my life for our freedom. Wake up the guys, we might need them. The government's a Ross Clark snake trying to make you take a bite inside Eden. Who knows what might unfold? Turn off that box of mind control. Look deep inside and find your soul and realize that it's time, let's go. Wake up these walking dead, them slaves to the system born and bred. Get up, put your all in, friend. Show them you're free from the law of men.
I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. I am free, you are free, we are free. Truth be told, I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. Yeah, I am free, so you are free, and we are free. So truth be told,
take a look inside, realize your power. See our strength rise high by the hour. Manifest like lotus flower. Louder, I am free, not a coward. All we gotta do is say no to every single rule they wrote. They're trying to murder our children, reveal them, they're running like Usain Bolt. From the AI to the GMO, from the fluoride to the Pope. Better stay wise to that fear, bro, or your mind will erode. You'll be suffocating your youths in mass, you'd kneel to Satan on doorsteps. You'd poison your children with that vaccine, feel no way to have more tests. But I got control of my life, with the love I'm holding on tight. And if that girl there don't like to be free, then poof, she won't be my wife. I will live my life for our freedom. Wake up the guys, we might need them. The government's a Ross Clark snake trying to make you take a bite inside Eden. Who knows what might unfold? Turn off that box of mind control. Look deep inside and find your soul. Then realize that it's time, let's go. Wake up these walking dead, them slave to the system born and bred. Get up, put your all in, friend. Show them you're free from the law of men.
I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. I am free, you are free, we are free. Truth be told, I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. Yeah, I am free, so you are free, and we are free. So truth be told,
back to the laws of nature. Reap what you sow and add flavor. Go research laws of a sovereign being. Defeat the war, it's on paper. They're trafficking kids, jacking our cribs, trying to scare us. Take that crap off your lips. Pigs trying to treat us like cattle with sticks. Soon kids won't know what happiness is. Soon masked up kids never seen a smile. And when's the last time you saw grandma? I am free and I'll stay free. Don't touch the kids, we'll bring anger. I am free, you are free, we are free. That's the mantra. Treat them like any dad would. Tom Hanks coming down the chimney like Santa. Clap for the NHS, that's black magic. For the taker of kids, that's fact. When I burn my sage and I cast my spell, can't socially distance that. I won't ever lie down playing victim. I will burn down Babylon's system. Don't trust promise of freedom in the future when I'm free right now while you're listening. No pedophiles, no surveillance. So free and proud and no masons. I feel it now, it's all blatant. And I see the crowd they can't play with. Go make the call for Nuremberg 2 for the spiritual war they wage to hurt you and you and you and you and you. Shout we are free, the call to break through.
I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. I am free, you are free, we are free. Truth be told, I am free, you are free, we are free. Manifest. Yeah, I am free, so you are free, and we are free. So truth be told.
Rise above, weasels. What's going on? Well, I would like to say, although she's already left, I would like to say a massive thank you to Chloe. I hope that gave everybody a little bit more detail about what we're trying to offer in the Woodland School and how important it is that you pre-book if you are coming to Ra Treat. So basically, I am now just waiting for the arrival of Master Lee, because you guys are very, very privileged this evening, because Master Lee's going to join us for a little bit to sort of give us a little pre-chat into what I'm going to show you tonight, which is his amazing... Anyway, I'm not going to even talk about what I'm going to show you tonight until Master Lee comes on. In the meantime, while I'm just like mucking around, I'll just play something like this as a little intro.
for sure.
Enough is enough. When you drew the line in the sand, the first place in the Guardians came was to rise above. And we're having this chat. We had a good chat the other night, myself and Lee, for an hour or so. He was talking, and I was like, mate, I'm so pleased he's come onto the stage, onto the channel and everything. And do you know what he said? He said, rise above. The reason that I like it, the reason it resonated with me, he said, it's like, he said, Lance, what you've done, you made a table. You made a table upon which people can come, sit, and they can feast upon ideas, discourse. And that really touched me. Do you remember this conversation, Lee?
Yeah.
And this is what this is, guys. This is we've got 140 people tuned in, which is fantastic. You know, a lot of streams would die to have 140 people tuned in at one time. We get a couple of thousand or 1,000 people tuned in every week, which is amazing. Big up everyone that tunes in every week. I think the reason everyone tunes in is because we're providing a table to talk about the alternative, to talk about the occult, to apply it to real world situations that we are seeing around us in our daily lives right about now, in the media, in things that are being thrust in our face.
And we're just speculating.
Just speculate. We're sharing lots of ideas. Okay. Yeah, that one's called This Is Why We Built the Table. I think it's nice to have those little look backs. What has been said. What was the flavour of the moment? What was the vibe like a year ago, 6 months ago when we were doing the show? I'm really enjoying these little look backs, whether it's Black Market, whether it's, the reruns that I've done in the last week. Yes, Rise and Shine, the presentation that's coming up. I hope Master Lee's coming because he sent me a message at 8 o'clock saying, what time did you want me on? And I obviously didn't see it. I've sent him an email. Hopefully he's coming. I'll play a music video in a minute just in case he doesn't come, because it'd be nice to have an intro. Yeah, the next thing we're going to show is the edited version of episode 33. And for anyone that's been following us and what's been going on this show, you will simply know that is really the episode that changed everything. Nothing was the same after that. Big shout out to ZYX, Holistic Media, An Eye for an Eye, Audrey B. How many people we've got tuned in? 78, not bad at all. I tell you what, while I'm getting hold of Master Lee, I'm just going to play... What is that one? I think... yeah, we'll just do that.
Rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above, abstract stillness, rise above, domino, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate. Since day one we've been going in militant, not same, also different, abstract stillness, no equivalent, double L's flows omnipotent, make I suggest a lyric proof vest, I got a bar that will tear through a chest, cause a massacre from my caliber, your Kevlar can't protect. Anyway, back to the subject, expose devilish acts to the public, and talk topics they won't publish, instigating cold wars like Sputnik, observe you with a satellite view, heard the cattle these parasites do, worshipping the gods of our conquerors, is a blinded acolyte view, members of spineless remain reminded, they drink blood and sacrifice you, so misguided, laws are provided, to benefit the chosen few, so we rise above and extinguish fear when we generate love, a single candle lights up the darkness, that is the power we all harness, let's identify targets, light them up, lift them down, carpet beef, sprinkling garnish, the message, word, power, sound, I don't care if my wet gets tarnished, split this shit till I'm dead in the ground, where they pollute your mind with garbage, do one thing, just hold it down. Rise above when we generate, rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate, rise above when we generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate love, rise above when we generate, rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate, rise above when we generate, rise above and extinguish fear when we generate. This is more than 232s in a hook. You want lyrics? I write books. Where your head double L overtook with a statement you can't overlook, and I drop rhymes you can't unhear. Plot lines never unclear, and I tell them direct direct to your ear. I doubt the signs that guided us here. And these lies from lost puppeteers who cut through throats like Schwartz buccaneers. Call to arms, don't volunteer, or take orders from brigadier. From war and carnage, they profiteer. The march goes on till we disappear. It's my duty to interfere, smash them system like chandelier. MCs chat about whips and cars, I rap bars about pyramids on Mars and other weird subjects, hidden for years, locked in casts. Strap a protective mask, inform your collective, war and star. It's a harrowing task and I'm swimming in fears on a narrowing path, I'm powering past. All these bullshit rappers will devour you last, and they're carrying fast. Drop from the top of a towering shaft, push from the ledge of a soaring peak, shoot from the pledge of my war and speak. Close to the edge, the outlook's bleak, frozen breath cause the output's weak. Rise above when we generate, rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate. Rise above when we generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate love. Rise above when we generate, rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear when we generate. Rise above when we generate, rise above, and extinguish fear when we generate.
You on the other hand only endorse it. Catch our treat, only endorse it. You know where to come when draconian war hits. This ain't a scare tactic, I really wish that things were less drastic. If you abide by the mass formation psychosis, then you'll end up a captive, a slave to the system. So hand over your rights, then blame like a victim. The supply chain's now seized up, so they're promoting people that eat bugs. Go do the research rather than making decisions at a knee jerk. If we go along with the collective, this reality will have ended.
It's there for you to see. If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall, it's there for you to see. If you ain't got the eyes to see it, don't complain to me. Together we're united if we only choose to be. The writing's on the wall, so let them make their move on me. The writing's on the wall.
Just imagine North Korea in 20 years, when everybody has to wear a biometric bracelet which constantly monitors your blood pressure, your heart rate, your brain activity, 24 hours a day. You listen to a speech on the radio by the great leader, and they know what you actually feel. You can clap your hands and smile, but if you're angry, they know you'll be in the gulag tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'm just going to chat for a minute while we wait for Master Lee. The Empress is getting pissed off. She wants to cook dinner. I said it would be 8 until 8:30. I slightly lied. 8 till 9. I did say 8 till 9. Definitely said 8 till 9. Anyway, Master Lee will be with us in any minute, and we're just going to have a really short, sharp chat with him before I replay the Power of 3. So, who have we got tuned in? Is this all just a family? Have we got anyone new? Andy Pandy 33. Oh, Snell. Yeah, Snell, reply to my Telegram, please. Don't be rude. Audrey B. ZYX. Bradley Golden. I for an I. Colin Robertson. Sabaja Sal. All the fam. Hogdam Munch. Luxury Turtle. Like a bit of Luxury Turtle. Bishop Matt. Bishop.Matt. Sad Boy. Sad Boy. Who's that? You knew. Yeah, big shout out to everyone. So, yeah, Raw Treat sales is going well, but today is the 25th of August, and I've got a feeling with the payday coming up, we're going to have a massive glut of sales. I'm going to have to release some more tickets. I'm going to have to do it, but it's all good. I've just got a message. Maybe this is Master Lee. What's going on? This is the proper off the. Oh no, that's some design. Oh, we've got so much going on. Honestly, if anyone understood how many things I've got going on with regards to this event, constantly 25 hours a day. Yeah, this 25-hour day we're working on, it causes like a 33-day month. But the good thing is you get 2 extra days a month. That's how we work at Rise Above. Get extra things done. Maybe we can have a jingle. You can tell I'm proper freestyling at this point. I haven't really got anything else to show you until Master Lee appears in the green room. I can't. Oh yeah, let's just replay this. This is well old. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. This is one of the first little videos I made.
Did anybody know that in 2018 there was a pandemic, a global pandemic of tuberculosis, a viral respiratory disease? Does anybody know how many people actually died?
Actually, no, that's definitely going to get me banned. It's got World Health Organization shit on it. Okay. Come on, Master Lee. What if I have to say his name 3 times? Inner Guardians, Inner Guardians, Inner Guardians. If not, you guys are going to get like another Ratri advert. What's this?
Give you a taster. I've done hundreds of hours of research into this topic. If you want to know more, check out my YouTube channel. I'm double LMC and the show is called Rise Above. Thank you very much.
That's very outdated, but luckily Master Lee is here. He's live in the flesh. Do you know what? It worked. I said Inner Guardians 3 times and he might have had a 33-second delay, but here he is. Right, let's get straight down to business, Master Lee.
Salutations. Can you hear me?
Salutations. Okay? Yeah, great. No, it sounds good. No sound check or anything. So tomorrow night is the final presentation. Okay, Panpsychism 3.3. We have laid the foundation with metaphysical personal protection. That's been played in its entirety. I've played the late night chats telling the story of how you came on the team. So the foundation has been laid over the last 2 weeks. Tonight, the Power of 3. How does this fit into the puzzle?
Well, you could say the Power of 3 is the foundation for any type of elevation, to have any type of arising or even awakening. So if you use the analogy of a freestanding ladder, how would you create that? You have to have 3 points. You create a triad.
Yeah. It doesn't even look like a triangle, but it's still a triad. That's very important. I haven't heard this one before.
Yeah, so for instance, the idea is to get off the horizontal line, the baseline of the dialectic or the duality. So by using the Power of 3, we have the ability to rise above.
Okay. So
you could
from
call
2 comes 3.
Yeah, you're evoking the third force, and it's the third force that is generally missing from the mainstream, definitely, and the population at large. So you could probably say that those who are attending the Ra Treat and those that are interested in like the esoteric, the occult, and that are basically aware and that haven't brought into the mainstream narrative, they would actually have a degree of third force. That's how you could easily decipher those that are asleep and those that are awake.
the ignition of the third force, and it's something that we've been talking about ever since you introduced it with what we're about to show. Now, this presentation, I think I've cut it down to roughly 50 minutes to an hour. It went on for a bit longer than that, but we always have a bit of fun on a Friday night, so I tried to condense it for everyone. This is from episode 33. Now, for anyone that hasn't followed us, you joined us in episode 17, which is halfway to 33, give or take 0.5. Okay.
Coincidence.
Yeah, by occultists, 17 is referenced a lot. Generally, it's thought to be halfway to 33. Now, I don't think it's any exaggeration to say we knew, hey, the build up to episode 33 was big. We put a lot of intent, and we paid a lot of attention to what a milestone episode 33 was. Now, we were already having the 33 phenomenon quite heavily and you could say, intensively before episode 33, but I don't think I'm exaggerating to say that everything changed after this episode, right?
Yeah, I think you could describe it as the invocation of the third force. So those that participated in anything like this, they would have possibly harnessed more of the third force. Now, it's when you're in the third force that you could say I don't really like using the word supernatural, because it's actually natural phenomena, but for the sake of communicating, if we say supernatural occurrences or synchronicities, you could say.
Yeah. Well, listen, if I was seeing 33 3 times a day before this episode, now I see it a minimum of 33 times, and we joke about this all the time. We send it to each other in our group. Since the third force was ignited, it's just 33s here all the way down. But the thing is, if I could do a whole show just out of the messages, emails, texts I've got, and what people send me on a daily basis of them having exactly the same phenomenon. And most of these people have seen this episode, followed us on the journey, but not all of them. Some of them just follow me on Facebook, which I find quite crazy. And these people, not all of them are really rise above adepts and watch the show all the time, like I said, but they are noticing the power of 3, and that's what this presentation is called. And we everything for us has been up to gear since this happened. And for me, this was a happening. This wasn't just a normal episode. This was a happening. There was something, like you say, that was invoked, something that was erected. And the rest is history, I guess.
Well, see, the thing is, for whatever reason, most people live, you could say, in Plato's cave, or they're playing ping pong in a dark room with a black ping pong ball. So most people don't really know what they're doing, where they're going, what the nature of reality is, even the description of this realm. It's all been sort of muddied, you could say. So the foundation of the law of 3, it gives you could say, the beginning or the baby steps of having a map that actually may match the terrain. So you've got to kind of clue what you're doing. So what you have to remember that the dark occult world, you could say they use the power of 2. We all know the dialectic and duality. So it's either this or it's that. So they're always trying to get you on the horizontal line.
It's either one or
choosing
2.
this or that.
Yeah.
So when we move more towards reason and critical thinking, higher consciousness, and things that pertain to those things, we're looking for the third option, the third force. Now, and this is what they're playing around with. And the number's 33. It means a lot of things. I mean, even in this presentation I gave, it doesn't give it to its fullest meaning. And also, it can be used for other things. It can also be used for absolutely nothing. So, as an example, even within the secret societies, when they have these degrees of an initiation, it's nothing. It's an illusion of something. So it can be used for something. It can also be used for nothing, or an illusion, to give a sense of that you've got to have obedience, you've got to comply, so you can get to the next point. So it's almost like dangling the carrot in the secret societies. So you could well meet a 33-degree Freemason, as an example. I shouldn't have said that, but somebody from a secret society, and they may not know anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
this
that
is
has to be
what you know.
factored in.
I'm very open about this. When some of the Masons speak to me, and I tell everyone I've done a job for a practicing secret society member, and he says, you know, he watches the show and he says, you realise that some of these members at 33rd degree level, most of the stuff you talk about would go way over their head. They don't know about any of this. Yeah. He says that sometimes in some ladders of that tree, 33 isn't even the greatest achievement.
No, it's an illusion, and also, like I said, it's all about compliance, it's all about conformity, it's all about obedience. So a good way to have that is to create these initiation degrees where you think at the next level you're gonna know everything. Everything's going to be revealed. The veil's going to be dropped. But then they just keep moving the goalposts. Now we all know very well how good they are at moving goalposts.
World champion, FIFA level, platinum goalpost movers. Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I'm sure I can't remember now, but I'm sure I explain it with regards to the opposites, like the yin and the yang, the black and the white, the up and the down. Basically, it's the polar opposites of any given thing. You could actually dissect it, so it's like a positive and neutral, the good and the bad, the affirming and the denying. Now, the most important thing to recognize is that we're living in a realm of three forces. They cannot be escaped. So there's no point running away from the negative or the denying, because, for instance, and I have explained this before, the mere fact of saying no to somebody, that is a denying force. So you're actually using the denying force for, you could say, good purposes.
Yeah, well, that's what we talk about with the catalytic converter, I guess.
Yeah.
And that quote that I talked to you about earlier on that I want to put on the sign at Raw Treat, it's along the same lines.
Yeah, and I could also add to this, because a lot of people ask the question about, why are some people aware, why are some people awake and others not? Well, you could actually say that those who are aware and awake, it's possibly because they've learned something from experiencing the denying force. And it could be in the form of trauma, it could be in the form of even massive disappointment, or another thing it could be, if you put yourself out there in any capacity, you're going to experience difficulty, you're going to experience loss, you're going to experience pain, suffering, sacrifice. All of those things could be deemed as the denying force. So it can be very useful. It can actually be a useful thing.
Yeah, the denying force
as a learning.
It's catalyst, it's lessons. So is there anything else that anybody needs to know that hasn't seen this the first time round before we replay it for everybody else that has seen it the first time round? For first time viewers of what we're about to show, any more preface that you could give?
Not really. I mean, we can all, even if you look at the sort of normal reality, even in terms of electronics, we all know that there's you get a positive, neutral, and an earth. So to make anything function in this reality, you need a law of three. The big problem is, because of the psychological operations, the social sciences, and the occultists in dark suits, they just keep you on the two, on the polarity. So basically, they want the population to be third force blind, which means that you don't elevate, you don't rise above. There's no sense of self-perfecting, and you're not able. And we all know about this problem reaction solution. The solutions are always found in the third force, and they want to keep us away from the solutions of the real solutions, so they can offer us problem reaction problem. It's all about the side effects.
So tonight we're going to replay The Power of Three, or The Law of Three, by Inner Guardians, Master Lee. We're trying to ignite everybody's third force to get you guys off the horizontal line. If you've seen this before, now it's time to elucidate further. There will be more to take from this presentation the second time round than there was the first. And if you haven't seen this before, then you're in for a real treat. Okay? And obviously, I have to remember and remind you guys that we are still building up to the big one tomorrow, which is Panpsychism 3.3, which is building on top of all of this information, which Inner Guardians has been slowly divulging to us since, what was it? Was it January 2021 when you first came on? When you drew the line in the sand? Pretty sure that was the start of 21.
Yeah, I think it was January. Yeah.
So it's been
Pretty
18
sure
months. It's been 18 months you've been on the team now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
and just one other thing. In terms of the things I've presented from the beginning, I was kind of expecting to look back on a lot of the things and maybe say, well, maybe this wasn't right, or maybe this didn't stand up. But so far, everything that I've looked at and everything that I've said 18 months ago, it's becoming more obvious, more apparent,
more relevant than ever. Funnily enough.
Yeah, and so for instance, pretty much everybody knows it's a psychological war. But the thing is, who was actually prepared to do anything with regards to the psychology within a psychological war? And that's where I think humanity's got caught with their sort of boots off.
Yeah. You can point out the problem, but being prepared to deal with it, to evade it, and to pull off a successful evasive maneuver around a psychological operation is more complicated than simply going, that's a psyop.
Yeah.
Right. We need to get to the replay because I'm about to get in serious trouble. We haven't had any dinner yet. Inner Guardians, Master Lee, I'd like to say thank you very much for you joining us very shortly to give a little preface to this presentation. I think I need to stop gassing and just play it. So, right, we'll see you tomorrow for the big one, IG.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, mate. I can't wait. Right, here we go. Inner Guardians with the power of 3. Rise above, everyone.
Rise above.
Well, let me ask a question.
Go on.
What's the magic number?
The magic number is 3. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
3 is the magic number.
Yep.
Gosh.
And number 3 is the number of manifestation.
Why?
3 points of a triangle.
Well, because it's a triad. All phenomena in creation must contain 3 forces. And this is something that I mentioned on the first presentation I did.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So you got the positive, the negative, and the neutral. I also mentioned that we are the neutralizing force within this realm. That is our purpose. Right. So first principles. So like I just mentioned, all phenomena is or must contain the 3 forces. There's nothing that exists in this realm and other realms, as above, so below, as within, so without, that does not contain the 3 forces. So this is why the number 3 is very, very important. Now, 2 forces come for free, as in free, F-R-E-E. You need a third force. So who has the third force? Who controls the third force? And how do you get the third force? And what is the third force? So I'm just going to lay out the first principles to get us started. Now, without the 3 forces, nothing can manifest in this realm. Humans cannot do anything without the 3 forces. Now, if something doesn't contain the 3 forces, it means, well, if you don't control the 3 forces, it means that it simply happens. So I'm sure most people in their lives have felt the phenomena of things happening to them, that they're not in control of their lives, or
things happen in 3s.
Yeah, buses come in 3s. So we already get the gist of this, and we already understand this. So, for instance, you could be at work, you could be trying to get to work, or coming back from work, anything like that, and things are just happening. You're not in control of the situation. Okay, so that's how we define happening, as opposed to manifesting. So when something happens, it means that there's 2 forces, but you do not control the third force. Somebody else does, or something else does. Okay, so something to elucidate on. Right. So who is in control of the third force? Where do we get the third force from? What is the third force? Like I've already mentioned, we get two for free. So we get the duality. They come free of charge in creation. So your left and your right.
That's included.
Yeah. That comes free of
Free
charge.
of charge. You can just have that.
Now, whoever has the third force controls. Now, this is where we go into the realms of changing your life, revolutionizing your life, manifesting the life that you would want to live, as opposed to being a victim of somebody else's third force. Now, the third force definition would be the quality of your consciousness. Okay, so this is another very important aspect. Now, going back to the numbers 33. So we've already established the law of three, or the three forces. Now, why is there 2 3s, 33? Well, there's a number of things that could be. One of them is the left and right side, which is 2. So we understand that as humans, we have a left side and a right side. That is a natural phenomenon. So it's 2. So you've got the 2 3s. Now, going back to the number 3 and the third force, that would also indicate the middle path. So I think you'll find that most religious traditions talk about or mention the middle path or the narrow path. Okay,
yes.
So that is a clue of what the third force is. Now, the third force is also where the solution is kept. So whenever you've got a problem, like in division, it's the third force that is required to establish a solution. I use the term, three-way thinking. So when you encounter a problem, you need to look at it from the perspective of 3, as opposed to, should I go this way or should I go that way? So you apply the third force, you become the third force. And that's where the solution is hidden. Now, for those that control this realm, or their aim is to control this realm, they need to hide the third force from the individual. So they know about how this works. They know the science behind manifestation and creation. Now, the problem is we're not taught this at school. This is not included in our education system, which basically means that we're kind of handicapped, because we've only got 2. The controllers have the 3, or the third force. And they'll use many mechanisms to insert the third force artificially. So then we actually end up doing what they want. So it's a mechanism of control. Do you want to,
mate? We're writing notes. You're literally sparking us. We're like, Andy PG's like, we need to write this down. Carry on. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, we're recording this.
Yeah. So I'm just laying down the first principles of the what, the why, and the how. Now, this needs to be absorbed. You need to eat and digest this knowledge, and it's very, very important. Now, 3s are in all and everything. You cannot escape the law of 3. Now, once you understand or get the gist of the law of 3, or the 3 forces, you'll live a tranquil life. Your quality of consciousness will increase. And this is the struggle, this is the battle between the 3s. Now, going back to the numbers 33, by displaying the numbers 33, what do you think that they're telling us?
They're telling us that they're in control of the first and the second triangle.
Yes, the 2 triads. So they understand the law of 3. They also control your law of 3. And it's as simple as that. If you can control your law
Mate,
of 3...
you just absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, so if you can control your law of 3, then you take the power back. Now, this is actually meant to be how we live. Now, somewhere along the timeline, that knowledge was hijacked, occulted, and denied us. So when they display the numbers 33, they're basically saying, we have our 3, we control our 3, we also control your 3.
Yeah. Boom. That's what 33 is.
Yeah.
Can I just interject quickly? Because from a New Age point of view and from an angel numbers point of view, this is one interpretation of 33 that I came across. Everyone knows about 1111. People have seen the 11 angel number. They conceptualize it like this. 11 is the number of thought. 22 is the number of action. But when they come together to create the synergy of the Genesis, that's 33.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that concept before?
Yeah. It's the master numbers.
The master numbers. Okay, so there's actually multiple different ways of interpreting how powerful 33 is. It works on different disciplines.
Yeah, it's the master numbers of the golden circle. So we are meant to have the golden circle. The problem is we've given it away. We've consented to give it away. And I'll just quickly throw this in. So, for instance, most people receive their third force from the media or from movies. Now, even the word movie indicates movement. That's a clue. So a movie about movement. Yeah. So in order to manifest something, to get it moving within creation, the third force is needed. Now, if you're reliant on a third-party movie or media, that means that they're programming you to project something that they want, and it's not in your favor. And this is why we're in the mess that we're in right now. Well, for a long time, throughout.
What's the Soviet Union trying to do right now? It's trying to become the number 3 of our health system.
Yeah.
It's trying to number 3 us on the sovereignty of our own healthcare, our own immunity, our own connection to the source.
Sorry, I've got to interject. Lance, one of your Facebook posts, I don't know who said it, but it was a great line, and I said nailed it. It was addiction and dependency on...
It was Terra Slim.
Yeah, there you go.
He goes, they're addicted to the dependency of the state.
Yeah, addicted to the dependency of the state.
And I said these people are getting high off their own self-imposed victimhood.
And this is what it is. This is going to be like they dependent on the medical. This is exactly.
Yeah, whether it's a financial dependency, whether it's a medical dependency, whether whatever you want to call it, with a shelter dependency. Yeah.
Tech
dependency. Becoming the top of the triangle and controlling the number 1 and 2, the number that's so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, look, I could really go. I mean, I've got much more to say, but I could really go into detail on every single point. So even like a pyramid.
Standard.
So the pyramid, we can all agree, is very symbolic, and the Freemasons use the pyramid. Now, how many points does a pyramid have? A 3D pyramid.
Oh, a 3D pyramid.
Yeah.
5.
5, yeah. 5 or phi is the number of man. We have 5 senses, 5 fingers, 5
pentagram.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, if you include the neck and the head, we've got 5 limbs. So if you was to draw a picture of a man, it would have 5 points. But actually, the neck, it would be the spine. So that's the 5th limb, the 5th element. So that's the number of man. So when they're showing you the picture of the pyramid, they're showing you man. They're also showing you the law of 3, because you've seen it from the front aspect. They're also showing you that it's decapitated.
The pyramid is... Wait a minute. They're showing you what the pyramid is decapitated.
Because it's the spine.
No, yeah, they've removed the tip.
Yeah,
the capstone.
It's just the spine. The
capstone.
Spine, the capstone. Hence the dollar bill.
Yeah.
But it's... Right, because I've heard Mark Passio say that the capstone is still there. It's separated, but it's not. You're not seeing
That's the whole point. They if you're a mason who chooses to build with the blocks, then you will block the capstone, as in fill in the pyramid. If you look at the dollar bill sign, where the eye is disconnected from the pyramid, but that's because they're trying to connect. They're trying to fill it with blocks, so it stops the light illuminating from the eye, from the third eye, from the light.
Well, I'm using it in reference. I'm using it in reference with regards to man or human.
Yeah, no, surely. I'm fully. Oh, yeah. I was just using that as an example for it.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. So I need to go over the gist, because the gist is very important. To have any chance of surviving or understanding or gathering enough information and knowledge, you need to start using gistism. We'll call it gistism, or the techniques of the gist. So I'll just do an example. of a gist. Okay, and it's really good to understand this way of thinking, and this is the style of thinking that they don't really like and they don't want you to have. So, for instance, if I wanted to improve your driving, because they say your driving is a bit bumpy or something, yeah, I could spend years explaining how the clutch works with clutch control, the braking system, ABS, the steering, hydraulics of steering, the revs of the engine, blah blah blah. I could keep going on and on and on, and that would take a long time for me to improve your driving. Yeah, but what if I was to say to you, right, drive the car, visualize that you've got somebody in the back seat drinking a cup of coffee. Do you think that would improve your driving quicker?
If you go straight to the gist.
Yeah.
Oh, he's right, though. He's right.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a different...
If you had something like a newborn baby in the back of the car, I get what you're saying, something very delicate to transport. Yeah, I get it, Lee.
Yeah, so this is a good example of how you teach using the gist, as opposed to, you know, you could literally strip a car down and explain to somebody how the engine works and wheels turn and velocity and stuff like that, braking mechanisms. But that probably wouldn't actually improve the driving. You'd have loads of knowledge, but you probably wouldn't improve your driving. It might make it worse because you just have too much information.
You'd be so clever, you'd be stupid.
Exactly, yes. And this is the situation that we're in with the expertise aspect of existence. Now, going back to the driving, I could quickly improve somebody's driving just by saying a sentence and getting them to create imagination, visualization. And that would radically improve their driving within seconds. And this is the situation that we're in right now, that we need to bear in mind we're thousands of years behind in terms of our education because we've been denied, not through any fault of our own. I would say after 2020, if anybody is not up to speed, it's probably because of their own doing. As of now,
their own choice.
Yeah, they're choosing ignorance over knowledge. Okay, right. So, what is the third force? So, if something has to be done, and we've got the positive and the negative, and we have to become the neutralizing force, what would it be? It's something that's intangible. It's the invisible aspect that we apply, that we bring to the table. It's the metaphysical side. It's the imagination, the visualization, the aim, the intent,
the understanding that we're more than a meat sack.
Yeah. Now these are all intangible things, and this is why it's very easy to hide these subjects. Now, if you stop somebody in the street and ask them to actually break down and explain intent, aim, visualization, imagination, they would probably think that you're crazy. And then if you then said to them, well, explain to me your capacity to co-create, they probably wouldn't understand that either.
Explain your capacity to co-create. Yeah, most people look at you like you're an absolute nutter if you said that to a random person.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I was just writing this down but in my opinion, imagination is under attack.
Yeah.
If you cannot imagine another way or any other way, then how can you put it into place?
I've encountered someone with no imagination recently.
Before anything gets invented, it has to be imagined.
Yes, of course. But I just need to, this is a very important point.
Yeah, go, Lee, go.
You also have the wrong use of imagination, which is actually what most people have. It's called fantasizing. Now, the problem with fantasizing is that it's almost like a fake third force. And this is why entertainment is very important to the horizontalists, because if they can capture everybody's third force into dramas, films, movies,
sports, football games.
Yeah, so they capture your third force. Now, once they've done that, it renders you back into position where you need to be controlled, because everything's just happening around you. And this is what we're seeing right now. So people would happily give up their third force and then complain the next day why they can't control anything in their existence. And we'll see this on a daily basis. People will be entertained one day and then complain the next day that everything's not working in their favor. Now, a student of mysticism, esoteric knowledge of the occult, they're on the path of self-mastery. Now, self-mastery is one who understands the law of three and can apply the third force. Remember, the third force is the intangible aspect. Now, the other thing you have to factor in, that there's you've got different types of triads. It becomes very complicated because everything has the law of three, but inside the law of three, you have the law of three, and the law of three, and the law of three, and it goes on. So everything in this realm is a manifestation of triads. And you'll have positive triads, negative triads, and neutral triads. Now, the real art, and this is taking it like to the other end of the spectrum, a master is somebody who can apply the correct triad to the correct situation at the correct time. For the most part, most people are using the wrong triad at the wrong moment. In fact, they don't even understand the triad. So they're using somebody else's triad to solve a problem not of their making, using the wrong triad, which creates another wrong triad, and it just goes into a downward spiral, descending spiral.
Hence the 33.
Yeah. So the number's 33, it symbolizes control and self, or the mastery of others, self and others. So three is self-mastery. The other 3 is mastery of others. Put the two together, it gives you total control. Real control is that somebody doesn't know that they don't know.
Yeah, they have no idea about the level of their own ignorance.
Exactly. Yes. So those on the path.
What I mean. That's what I mean. You're so intelligent. You're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, there's many ways of.
Some of the most intelligent people are like bafflingly stupid.
Hey, my dad's a certified genius on paper, academically, and he's double AstraZeneca. There you go. And he couldn't even fathom that somebody might be.
Did you see the official
doing something nefarious behind the scenes?
The official news report today, there were 4 million or 5 million doses of the glorious gift from the stars that weren't even approved by the EU, and now the people that have had it can't fly. That's official now.
Yeah,
that was a conspiracy theory a little while ago.
Last week, I think it was Alex Wright, the guest who came on.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I had to listen to what he said after the show. He made some very good points. And one point that he made, was it his father who was an accountant? And he said that he didn't understand
a very high-level accountant, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't understand the fiat system.
He hadn't even heard of it. He didn't just understand it, mate. He had never heard of the term. He said, what's that?
Yeah, so that's a good example of expertise, but lacking the third force. So that would be a good example. Now, okay, so I'll use the gist. So, for instance, you've got the positive, negative. You've got the building, and you've got the destruction forces. So we understand that something goes up, something goes down, something is built, something is destroyed. Okay, so we understand that. So if we use a house as an example, so somebody could build a house, but somebody could also burn it down. Building a house is actually not that difficult if you're given instructions. Burning a house down is even easier. You just light a match. Now, both require a little bit of effort. Okay. What would you say is the third force of building a house or burning it down?
What was the force between building a house and burning it down?
No, so for instance, we've got building a house would be the positive force.
Yeah.
Burning it down would be the negative. What would you say is the third force? We were talking about the gist of a house. So
the third force would be maintaining it. No.
No.
Just no.
So what force would contain the building of a house and the destruction of it. It would be the designing of the house. The design of the is intangible. You could design a house in your own mind. Now, when you're designing a house,
I was going to say the foundation.
yeah, okay. So if we use the design as being the third force, whoever designs it would, in the design, they would figure out how to build it. They would also figure out how for it not to burn down.
Yeah.
So that's just an example of the three forces. So you got the positive, somebody building it, the negative, somebody burning it down. The third force would be in the creation, in the designing of it, which is
what's their symbol? The set square and the cross compass. That's what an architect uses.
Yeah, and that's why I use the example of the house, because it's building, building blocks.
I didn't even go into their belief system of what they call their deity. They call him the grand architect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
ultimate designer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of these stories that have been embedded into everything, like Adam and Eve, plus the apple. Maybe the apple was the third force. There's many different ways of looking at it. Yeah, Shakespeare. If you read Shakespeare or watch any of the films made, even the modern adaptations, they're very good examples of the third force. I would recommend everybody to watch The Merchant of Venice. So if you've not read that or seen it, I would recommend either reading it or seeing it. It's very, very good. That is all about the law of three. So,
and as we know, the merchants of Venice were the Venetians or Phoenicians or the Pharaoh-ish, the same
Canaanites.
The ones we're talking about. They were the merchants of Venice.
Yeah, I can't remember the names of the characters, but the gist of the story is that somebody borrows some money, and if he doesn't pay it back, he has to give a pound of flesh.
Yes, 3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you read it or seen it at all?
I only know about it. I've heard about it secondhand.
Okay,
I know it's a very pivotal novel.
This is new to me, Lee.
Right, okay, so one character needs money. Another character lends him the money. The deal is if he doesn't pay it back, he's allowed to take a pound of flesh. He can't pay it back, and it goes to court, so he has to give a pound of flesh. Okay, so he's in trouble. And just before he's about to cut his chest muscle out, the third force appears. The third force is another character who says, hang on a minute, in your contract, it doesn't stipulate that you're allowed to take any blood. So yes, take your flesh, but if you take a drop of blood, you're then guilty. So he's stuck, he can't do anything. So it's kind of a...
You can't take the flesh without the blood.
Yeah, and he didn't write it into the contract, he just said...
The devil's in the detail.
Yeah, I actually made a note about that. Yeah, the devil's in the detail. So that's that's just an example of how you can see the third force in action.
So the third force is actually it comes back to the design, because the design was the person that wrote the contract, the person that didn't check the detail about the ins and outs and the intrinsic details of the contract. Yeah, you can't actually cut without having the blood. So that comes back to what you were saying about the house analogy, yeah? The third force is the design.
Yeah, and what are we seeing right now? It's all in the detail. It's all in the contract. It's all in the consent. First mate Pete, he already said that quite possibly he could have just walked out and got around it, contractually or by not signing. Yeah, not signing the paperwork. And, we find this with a lot of things that's going on right now. And I think... my opinion of this is that we're being shown, literally in 3D, right in front of us, the third force and the law of three. It's playing out for us all to see, because we all understand about you have to wear a mask unless you don't want to. Yeah, you.
It's say no.
Yeah. So, a few years ago, let's say 5 years ago, I could have sat here and tried to explain this to everybody. And you wouldn't be able to have a direct, real experience of it. I can guarantee everybody, you can go out tomorrow, go about your business, and you'll encounter consent, contract, agreement, acquiescent. And all these,
Yeah. It's been played out in real time now. Like there's so many working examples of it in your day-to-day life. You can't get away from it.
yeah, and this goes back to what I keep saying this about the so-called Great Awakening. Now, it sounds nice, but what is it? What would it actually look like? It would probably look like this. Also, right, and this is another thing to ponder, right? So, if you had to design something that could create consciousness, what would it look like?
Whoa.
It would probably look just like what we got now. Think about it. This is a consciousness machine.
Rise Above is not just a mental fortress, it's a consciousness factory. It provides a table full of catalyst.
Yeah. Now, I would also say that everybody tuning in, minus a couple or maybe three.
It's got to be three now. Because let's just give some context, right? We've said for all of these videos for a long time, we always had one dislike, very unanimously one dislike. A few weeks ago, we moved up to two, and now we've got two people that always watch and always dislike. Tonight, we're going to have the third dislike on the stream. We've never reached past two before.
No.
Apart from that video I did on the boat, they got 6 dislikes, and there was nothing controversial, just enjoying a nice time in a boat. 6 dislikes, I hate that.
2, 3.
Well, maybe that's because there was none of this.
Or maybe the algorithm allowed everyone to see it. Because what we normally talk about, the algorithm says, no, most people can't see that. So only people that like it can see it. Maybe, I don't know.
Right, so I would suggest, right, that everybody that's tuned in right now and that will tune in the future are people, humans, that are craving to regain their own third force.
Yes.
Because it's very hard to find it anywhere else. You're not going to get it.
That's what Rise Above is all about, mate. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you may be able to go to a mountain temple and study for 30 years or whatever.
We did that, so you don't have to.
However, you can't meditate your way out of a physical problem.
No, but I've sat with the monk. That's how I got this.
I'm not saying there's anything
I've sat there
negative
and
about that.
I've had that experience where, you know, I sat there
But
for 45
what I'm saying
minutes.
is the current physical situation.
Oh no, you need a shortcut now. There's not any time to do that anymore. There's not any time to go to the mountain, to go on your spiritual pilgrimage. I had a long time to go and do that. Master Lee had twice as long. Most people don't have the opportunity to travel the world that some of us have, and to have these experiences. That's why I created Rise Above. I wanted to condense everything, and I wanted to create not just a table. I wanted to create a magnetic center. I wanted to create a magnet to pull in resonant frequencies of other people that were ready to sit at this table, to come to this pinnacle that we are right here, right now in episode 33.
Yeah,
I don't care if anyone thinks that's cringe or cheesy. I really feel about it like this, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, what we have been drip feeding you, what we've been, and we, you know, I'm not a master or a teacher. I've got my teacher here with me for me to learn as well. But we're putting things on the table to help other people to learn this third force, to understand that the third force could be within inside them. It doesn't have to be exterior.
Yeah,
that's the whole rabbit.
Yeah, you become the cause, not the effect. And for those who have listened to some of my stuff, I've meant about the cause and the effect being inverted. Now, unfortunately, most people suffer in this realm because they're just the consequence of the effects, rather than being the master, creating the cause and allowing it to manifest in this realm. Now, going to the subject of being illuminated or Illuminati and stuff like that, or light bearers or whatever. Yeah. Well, what that basically means is that we're living in a realm of darkness. So if you've only got the two forces, you're going to be in a position of darkness. The third force will bring you the light, and with the light, you'll be able to see the world as it is. And that's the most important thing that you can. That should be your greatest ambition. To see the
understanding has to come vision. You have to have the vision before you can even begin to understand.
Yeah,
or understand.
And you need the light. I mean, I can go on a tangent. You know, light is about is connected to fire. Fire is connected to spirit. All these things, but I want to sort of, I don't want to go too far into things because then we'll lose the gist of it. Now, what the information I've given would potentially take 33 years to learn. Now, just because
no
of
exaggeration either.
Yeah. Now, as an example, I'm sat here speaking, talking, sharing this knowledge. Okay. There is no credit. Nothing is for free in this realm. The third force comes from your own effort, from the self, and this is why you've got people in this realm that do not understand things. They willfully do not understand things, and they don't want to understand things. Why? Because it requires effort. Aim with action, okay? But with action comes effort. Or to have any action, you have to put effort into it. And these people are just basically lazy.
Can I just say one thing, Lee? So I'm sorry to butt you in. I totally agree with everything you just said. There is another type of person, in my opinion. I'm going to use a close family member as an example. Actually, I can use multiple close family members.
There has to be three types because everything contains three.
Of course, absolutely. There's three types, of course there is. So, from what I can say, from my own personal experiences, some people that are close to me don't want to even look at this stuff, any of it, not even one blink of it, because their life is comfortable as it is. And that's because they're on the horizontal plane.
Not necessarily. Right. Now, this is a very interesting point that you brought up, and it's something that I was thinking about a lot today. So, as an example, right?
There's a lot of middle-class people who are fairly comfortable and don't want things to change.
Right. Okay. Well, how about this? Maybe they've already mastered the third force. Maybe their reality that's manifesting in front of them is fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they could actually be closet three forces.
But from a spiritual point of view, from an onlooker like myself, it's satanic. Because it's just about the physical, and it's all about
and no,
non-transcendent spiritually, or anything more than being physically comfortable yourself and your friends and loved ones around you.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to something that we've mentioned many, many times on Rise Above, that if we just focused on all the problems, we would never, ever get anywhere. At some point, you have to go back to the first person, which is yourself. And so you've got this information. What are you going to do about it? Now, whether these people have already gone through that, I don't know. Maybe they did it in previous incarnations. Now, they could, I'm not saying that they are or they're not, but it's a possibility that they could they already understand the law of three, and they've already created in their local reality the perfect world.
Sure.
We have to consider that. Now, as an example, I've met many occultists that you would never know they're occultists. Occultists could be. The
point of the word occultist is hidden.
Yeah, an occultist could be a millionaire driving down the road in a Rolls Royce. It's not for me to judge. I don't know.
I don't look like a light occultist.
Exactly.
From what the mainstream. I'm not going to say the word normie because I hate it, because I never use that. You've never heard me say the word, but anyone who's not into occultism or the occult, they wouldn't think of the type of person physically would be me, who would be into this kind of esoteric stuff.
Yeah, and also, for instance, you could walk down the street and the homeless guy...
Or you, Lee, is somebody who can quite easily rip someone's head off, who does it for money, or who has done it for money, as a professional fighter, they wouldn't necessarily think you were into light esoteric.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And
by the other token, could you be an occultist and not even know it, Lee?
Yes and no. It's a tricky one.
Okay.
The mere fact of not knowing would probably indicate a sort of low quality consciousness.
Yeah.
I would say that you're just lucky that you've fallen into a positive triad.
Okay.
Is happening for you. Or it could be, right? There's so many factors, right? So as an example, you do a lot of work in this life, but you don't fully achieve like the perfect life or existence. But because of the work you've done, that may carry through to the next life. So you could be born into a far better situation. But generally speaking, right, when it comes to this question, if you're too wealthy, that indicates you're polarized in one end of the spectrum. If you're too poor, that would indicate that you're stuck in one side of the spectrum. In order to get the perfect triad, it means that you'd be somewhere in the middle. So, for instance, if you can't eat, you're going to spend all your time searching for food. Equally, if you've got too much money, you're going to be spending all your time in
trying to control others.
Well, or just being in pleasure, or worrying about losing all your money.
The thing is with that, when you've got unlimited money, you've got unlimited access to physical, plain, horizontal pleasure.
Yeah.
Right. You can. I mean, I wonder how quickly that wears thin. This is what I say to people all the time when they say, "Oh, why would people want to do this? Why would people want to do that?"
Yeah.
Well, when you've got all the money in the world, when you can have all the physical pleasure in the world, how quickly do you think that wears thin? And after that, what do you think you're going to want to do? You're going to try and control others or fuck with the peasants.
Yeah, that's the law of diminishing pleasure. So we all know this, like you buy a nice car, it's great, and then after a little while you start to look at it and you think, oh, I'm bored of this car now. I want to get a bigger one or faster one or smaller one or whatever. Yeah, that's lawful because remember, nothing in this realm, it goes up and then it comes down. Yeah, things degrade. It's second law of thermodynamics, entropy. So. Yeah, so part of the work is that it has to be maintained. We have to. So same with the triads. So just because you got a triad one day doesn't mean to say that you're going to be successful the next day. It has to be maintained. This is why I mentioned it in one of the YouTube comments that for a man number 7, it's no easier than a man number 1. Everybody has to work equally on whatever level that they're on. It requires effort. In order to have any action, to have any manifestation, it requires work. This is why it's called the great work.
Sure. Absolutely. The thing is what you consider the great work. And this is where it comes down to when we're talking about Freemasonry, this is when it comes down to what you choose to build with the light or with the bricks. And that's what your definition of the great work is. If you define the great work, if you're building with light, then that's to help others, self and others.
Yeah, and also we have to acknowledge that we are in this realm. So there's no point in me sitting on a mountaintop just meditating and being light. We've got a thing called housekeeping, which means that we have to keep our house in order on a 3D mundane level as well.
We're all stewards of this earth.
Yeah,
whilst we're on it.
Yeah, and there's a responsibility. We're here for a reason. So, for instance, even the Gnostics, and they see this realm as under the demiurge, and that you need to get out of this place because it's not a good place to be. Even the Gnostics have to recognize that we're here for a reason, and this is a school. This is like a university of sorts, and you do a 3 or 4 year degree, 5-year degree. That takes a lot of effort, a lot of work.
Sure.
And at any point, you could drop off. If you fall into a negative or descending triad, you'll drop out. In order to maintain an aim, it requires conscious labor and effort in order to create in.
Actual work.
Yeah, and remember, life, by its own definition, is fluid. It's movement. It's all about movement. If there's no movement, that means there's death. Life means movement.
Energy.
Yeah, and it's always in a state of flux, and it's always waxing and waning. We've got the sun and the moon. We've got the polar opposites. We've got the electro and we've got the magnetic. And there's movement all the time, as without, so within. So, for instance, one day you wake up and you'll be in a good mood. The next day you wake up, you'll be in a bad mood. Quite often, somebody will go to sleep at night and say that they want this, and by the time they wake up in the morning, something else in them says, "No, I don't want it." That'll be the division. That will be the two forces. The duality. Yeah. Now, the only way that you can reconcile those two opposing forces is to be and bring in the third force. Now, only adults can do that. And this is why I make the reference to adult babies. And going back to what I was saying, like why some people do not understand what's happening right now is because they're receiving their third force from the BBC, from the media, from newspapers. And we can see this on a daily basis with people we work with, our family, our friends. You try and talk to them, but they just don't understand why, because their third force. Now, for instance, I can figure out...
It's corruptedly.
Yeah, I see myself as a responsible adult, and I can figure stuff out. Now, whether I'm gifted, whether it's because of all the work I've done, I don't know. But I think even as a kid, I could figure things out quite well. I've got critical thought. I have the ability to analyze something and find a solution. Some people just don't have that. And that's why. It's because they're operating on the law of two. And they've given away their capstone to the 33.
Willingly?
Willingly, yeah. Yeah. To a degree.
I've just been listening from upstairs. The stream sounds absolutely mint.
Well,
big up everyone at Restreams.
When you said to a degree, they have been tricked out of giving it away, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But that comes down to their own... I won't say... it's not their fault. But let's be honest, if you're more concerned about the dollars going in your pocket rather than doing what's right in life...
Can I say something? If it was
then you're going to be in the ship.
If it was that easy to coerce billions of people into doing it, why have it taken them thousands of years and so much effort to master it? It is not easy.
How do we know? How do we know it's taken thousands of years? They might have done this in the late 1800s.
All right, well, let's take it back to observable history. They've been doing it since...
They might do this every other generation.
Trauma-based mind control has been researched since at least the 30s, yeah? We can certainly, hopefully agree on that, I guess.
Yeah.
So... I mean, you can check how much money the CIA and these other declassified things have spent on, trauma-based mind control, psychological pre-programming. You can look into Edward Bernays and
just listen to Yuri.
And all these people. They've put a lot of effort and invested a lot of money in the last century into manufacturing consent, because that's what it's called, manufacturing consent.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy task.
No, because firstly you have to demoralise the nation.
Yeah.
Before you can
Comrade Bezmenov told us everything we need to know.
I can put this in one sentence. Okay, right.
Go. Spill it.
People do not know what is right, okay? But they think what is right is what the majority is doing. And we're seeing this play out right now. So they don't have a moral compass, an independent moral compass of their own. They will just go and believe what is right to what the majority is doing. So if the majority of people are wearing masks, they wear masks. And because they follow that line, more people wear masks. So the majority rule. Now, the critical thinkers, or anybody with a third force, they'll look at the situation and they'll say, I don't need to wear a mask, it's ridiculous. But they're going to be the minority. And this is why our friends and family that are still wearing masks, it's because they don't pursue what is right. They only pursue what the majority is doing.
The path of least resistance.
Yeah, and those behind the 33, they know this, and that's what they're doing. This. Yeah,
but what I'm trying to get at is they haven't come to this understanding easily. From my knowledge, from my research, from my learning, my gnosis, it's taken quite a long time to get this right because, like we've said before. Only 1 or 2 generations ago, if you wanted to pull something like the Soviet Union off, you had to use tanks and horses and 33 of Bill Gates' Porsches.
I'm not so sure.
Well, look what happened in the Third Reich. Look what happened in the Soviet Union. They had to use strong men.
I think that's a different type.
Look. Right, I can explain this. Right.
Go on.
Remember, I said this is the final frontier. Okay, they've conquered everything. Yeah, they can put a gun to your head, but you know what? When you do that, you don't always get the result you want.
Yeah.
By doing it this way, they get a far better quality of control because you can only point a gun to somebody's head for so long, and it takes a lot of manpower to keep the gun pointed to the head. Whereas if you can get people to
rebels and freedom fighters by shooting people in the head.
If you can get people to have their own gun and point it to their own head, then this is total control, and this is what they're going for. This is the final frontier. Now, for instance, you could look at history and you could say, well, they conquered this force, they conquered that force, Now this is the final force. They're going for the Holy Trinity of control.
It's like my lyric. Let me make one thing clear. Inside the mind is the final frontier. Our demise has been engineered, so seek the truth or succumb to the fear.
Yep.
The final frontier, that's what you said, isn't it?
Yeah.
2016, that lyric. Gosh.
So, I'm just going to jump in here, chime in. So, I'm not so sure this is... I'm just putting this out there. This is just...
I'm saying at least a century they've been perfecting the technique.
Yeah. This is... Yeah,
I don't think they would have been able to pull this off in the 40s or the 50s to convince all of those men back then that were oozing with testosterone. Men that could build a house, men that could chop down a tree, men that could start a fire, dig a well by default.
So globally...
Them type of men.
Definitely globally, no. However...
Well, let's list a name. Yeah, go ahead.
From a nation, right? Let's just take America, okay? So... America, there's no radio, there is radio, but there's no TV or no social media, no internet, blah blah. So if you announce on the radio, or whatever, I'm talking about the Spanish flu because there's no coincidence that this was in I've just looked it up, it's 1918 to 1920, literally 100 years ago. I'm saying that them making the peasantry put masks on and stand 2 meters apart, 6.6 feet apart. And doing all this is a giant satanic ritual that they do annually on a 100-year basis.
I've heard this today. I was actually having a debate with an admitted satanist on Facebook. He was saying
they've never done it globally, and now they've got the technology to do it globally. Yeah, that's what I think.
Because in Spanish flu, most of the deaths didn't just come from the bacterial pneumonial infection from the mask wearing. It also came from the overprescription of aspirin.
Yeah. That's it.
So they actually overprescribed basic drugs and just euthanized people.
And at that time, those were the drugs
like
they had
Ivor medicine.
But at that time, those were the up-to-date, most modern drugs. So what are they doing these days, 100 years later, with the most up-to-date modern drugs? They're doing the same thing.
So I think it's not Ivor medicine. What's the one that Hancock overprescribed the euthanasia drug?
Oh, the
medilazepam or something.
Yeah, something.
The one that puts everyone to sleep, especially if you've got breathing problems.
But again, I'm saying that this is a 100-year ritual, around about a 100-year cycle that they're doing, and it's just some weird, satanic, opposing ritual. But anyway, continue, Master Lee.
Right, no, that's okay. So you just reminded me of a couple of things. Something else that Alex Wright mentioned last week. Now, I must say I agree with literally 99.9% of what he said. Although there is one point that I did think about, or I have thought about it for quite a while. That, he's fully right in terms of that the tipping point. You know, we're years away from the tipping point, if there is a tipping point, and that basically humanity is snookered in a slave position. And because if you look at history, it says for itself, okay? But this is one of the only times, or the first time, that it's been a global or crater or realm.
Crater-wide, yeah.
Where it's every country is in agreement for the most part, bar 2 or 3 countries. Okay, so we've had world wars, we've had communism, we've had socialism, the Nazis, capitalism, blah 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 blah. Now this is the first time where you've got one agenda.
Yeah, because communism didn't complete it last time. You could argue that all of those totalitarian regimes were always trying to complete what they're trying to do now, to have the one empire.
Yeah, and I would agree with what you're saying in agreement with Alex. Is his name Alex? Right? Yeah, Alex. Right. That we're years off it, because let's look. How long did it take for the Berlin Wall to physically come down? Decades.
But the point I'm trying to make is this, right? So, for instance, you got communism. So they did communism, but because you had capitalism and you had many other systems, it would actually take longer to come down because they're only using one part of the triad. What we're seeing right now, and this is why it depends how you look at it, we're very lucky to be living in this time where, unlike any other time in history, we're seeing the complete triad being placed or unfolding in front of us. So, as an example, those who suffered communism, they probably didn't understand a lot of other things. Those that suffered capitalism didn't understand a lot of things. Those that suffered colonialism didn't understand a lot of things. But with technology and information and the internet and science and so on and so forth, this is probably the first time in history where we have the chance to see everything, and we're seeing the hands and the agenda rolling out by the one horizontalist at one time, all at the same time.
The final
Now,
move.
yeah. Now that should be enough to evoke, to trigger, to provoke the third force within us. Because if it doesn't, then nothing will.
Because that's it. That's
this
it.
is the
Yeah.
final, ultimate, universal, omnipotent catalyst.
Yeah.
The ultimate test.
Yeah.
This is the final test.
If we fail this, that's it. That is it. It's over. That means, so for instance, throughout history, two-thirds have been controlled. Two-thirds have been controlled. Two-thirds control. Now we're witnessing 3 of 3 control.
They're trying to pull off the final 33.
Yeah.
We won't let that happen. That's what happens when I go to the front room. Right, peasants, I'll see you lot tomorrow. Rise above. That could have been smoother, couldn't it?